If I had $10 for every time I heard a paranormal investigator or parapsychologist say to me or Tina that Seattle, Washington was too far for them to travel or too far for them to investigate or to see about our claims, I probably could afford or buy a house of equal value as the Bothell house. A lot of teams told me, because I reached out to them, and I'm talking about teams elsewhere in the country and teams elsewhere in the world, who, if you go to their website, specified their expertise in the paranormal. But they told us, or told me, that Seattle, Washington was too far for them to travel. And what is Seattle, Washington? Seattle, Washington is a city not often talked about, not often thought about. When it comes to the West Coast, no disrespect to Seattle, but every city overshadows Seattle, LA, San Francisco, with the exception of maybe Portland, San Diego, overshadow the city known as the Emerald City. Not too many people know or are aware that three of the world's richest men are located in Seattle. The largest software company is here. The largest retail giant, Amazon, is here. And arguably the largest, or one of the largest, plane manufacturers is here. And therefore, there is Seattle. There is the city that Keith, Linder, and Tina lived in during our ordeal. But we did not live in Seattle proper. We lived in the suburbs of Seattle, 20 minutes northeast, depending on traffic, in a city known as Bothell, Washington. And what is Bothell, Washington? And what is a Bothell, Washington? Often mispronounced by many as Brothel, Washington, or Brothel. But Bothell, Washington, ladies and gentlemen, is a city located in the suburbs of Seattle, Washington. As mentioned before, it's about 20 minutes, depending on traffic, uh, northeast of downtown Seattle. Bothell, Washington, or more importantly, a community of homes, of newly built homes, 2005, a community of 85 to 300 homes, depending on how you look at it, is where Keith and Tina reside, is where we moved into a home May of 2012, May 1st, 2012, and immediately began to experience what we now regard as poltergeist activity. Totally unaware, myself and Tina's reasoning, reasoning for moving into the home was innocent. Nothing special, nothing unique. May, more than any other month, out the year is when people move into homes, whether they rent or buy. So here we are in a community. Myself had recently been promoted, working for a new company. Had been with my girlfriend at the time for 2 years, and as a way of, I guess, upgrading our relationship, we decided to move in together to this very nice suburb community, very beautiful home community. All the houses relatively look alike or identical. It's straight out of a cliche movie in the sense that all the houses are identical. All the occupants of the homes are pretty much first time home buyers, first time home renters, new families being started. The majority of my neighbors, not all, but the majority of my neighbors are in the IT field. Um, so it was an interesting time. It was an interesting time for myself, interesting time for Tina. Um, and when we moved in, our only intention was to make this house a home. Um, the city of Bothell, uh, like a lot of cities in the Pacific Northwest, um, have a secret. They have a history. Um, most cities do. Bothell is not unique in that regard. The state of Washington is not unique in that regard. But what makes Bothell unique in comparison to other cities is Bothell, like Seattle, is very under the radar, very low key. Um, a lot of teams, when you talk about the paranormal, um, a lot of teams seem to focus only on the East Coast. Names like Massachusetts, names like Connecticut, areas like New England. Um, the only time you hear of the paranormal community focusing on the West Coast would be Los Angeles or somewhere in California. Seattle, primarily, or the state of Washington, primarily goes unnoticed, which may play a role or may explain why this newly built home, this non assuming home, would later become or is or be classified as one of the most haunted houses in recent memory. One of the strongest poltergeists ever documented resides here. One of the, without a doubt, elusive, evasive, and intelligent and evil, in my opinion, poltergeists throughout centuries decided to take up residence in this home. And in doing so, haunted two families. The second family, which I'll talk about first, or the second couple, is Keith and Tina. We had no children, we had no kids, and we bought this house, meaning we rented this house with the most sincere or sincerest of intentions. In this chapter, you're about to get a glimpse of some of that sincerest intentions and how activity slowly begins, slowly but surely. And that is the nature of the poltergeist. May 2012. Um, Keith and Tina have moved into the Bothell home. This is summer 2012 or spring. Um, One of the things, I guess, associated or known with previous poltergeist cases um, that can be identified, in my opinion, as a characteristic or trait is what I call the snowball effect. Um, Things begin gradually or slowly and they ramp up. Phase one, I believe, um, is the attention, to get the attention of the house occupants. One of the things I noticed as soon as I moved into the Bothell house was my spare car keys have went missing. And by car keys, I really mean car fob. We're in the 21st century. It's 2012. Cars have fobs, push button to unlock, get in, start up. And that's what I had. Um, this car fob is my extra set or my extra. Um, I never used it. I kept it in the glove box at my apartment and it's gone. The day I noticed it was gone, I believe it was a few days, if not a week, of living in the Bothell home. I went to retrieve something else. I keep this in the glove box, about the size of a shoebox, and I went to go retrieve something else, and I noticed my car fob was gone. And that was weird. I really was taken aback by that for the simple fact that the movers did not touch it. This was not something that was packed away and moved. No other item was missing. Tina didn't know I had an extra set, and why would Tina take my extra car keys or car fob? Doesn't make any sense. And so it's gone. It's gone. I have no idea what happened, how it happened. But it was interesting. I was really upset with myself, disappointed, because if you know me, to know me is to know I don't misplace things. I don't lose things. When you get to living with yourself or living by yourself for as long as I have, remember, me and Tina had different places of residence. We were not living together before moving into the Bothell house. You don't lose things. You know where things are. Only you touch them, therefore, nothing goes missing until you move into the Bothell house. So they were gone. It's gone. I didn't look for it, didn't search for it, but I thought it was interesting. I was really disappointed in myself, but I was scratching my head at the same time of, there's no way I lost those. At the same time that's happening, Tina comes to me to tell me that her jewelry is missing. She's missing jewelry. Now she's asking me, have I seen this? Have I seen her earring? Keyword is earring. One of a pair is missing. Have I seen her bracelet? Bracelet is missing. I tell her no. She believes me, obviously.
So that was interesting. What we both started noticing, probably about, I don't know, 6 weeks to 2 months in, if not more, give or take a month or two, is silverware missing. Now, it was frustrating to me, and me and Tina talked about this a few times over dinner, over breakfast, um, of what's happening to our silverware. I mean, you go into a kitchen drawer to get a fork, knife, or spoon, and you're having or finding yourself having to search for one. Like, we came into the house with about 40 fork, knives, and spoons. I'm talking a piece, about 40 knives, 40 spoons, 40 forks, because keep in mind, we're moving in together. So my silverware has joined hers. There's a marriage, to use that terminology, of silverware. And there should not be a short supply, let alone a short supply with two people recently moved into a house. But slowly but surely, we started asking ourselves, hey, are we accidentally throwing them away? I'm not throwing away silverware, neither is Tina. But we found ourselves looking for them. And where do you go with that? Okay. Now, on the flip side of the coin, once again, associated with poltergeist hauntings, documented cases, there's a phenomena that's often talked about where the house occupants, myself included, go on the record and admit to objects missing, objects that we own are gone. And just for the record, my car fob never returned. Tina's jewelry never returned. I truly believe there are items missing today that were taken back then that we don't know were missing that are still gone to this day. That's just how it works. But on the flip side of that, there's another phenomenon, and that phenomenon is objects, foreign objects, appearing into a place of residence, a home that neither party owns. Now, what makes Keith and Tina's case unique or interesting is only two people live here. No children, no kids, no pets. The dog didn't go hide it. The cat didn't drag it away. Your son, your daughter didn't hide it. So it's only two people in the home. But we're finding now, or waking up to find, kid toys. Now, we don't have kids. Nobody lives with us. But I get up in the morning. I walk down the hallway, make coffee, start my day. And there are kid toys displaced on the staircase, always within eyesight, on the coffee table, kitchen counter, kitchen table. And these kid toys, they're like trinkets, if you will. Little girl jewelry, Hot Wheel toys, remember the little Hot Wheel cars, Tonka trucks, little toys, female trinkets. And they're displayed openly. This is not something we're finding, in a ventilation or behind a refrigerator. This is something that is out in the open, sitting on items that we moved into the home. So now I'm worried. Now I'm concerned. I'm thinking, and Tina's thinking too, that somebody's pranking us. Somebody's, punking us. We live in an era today, reality TV, is this some sort of weird welcome to the neighborhood prank? It's very daring. It's very interesting in the sense that somebody would have to be coming into the home while we're asleep, leaving things for us to find in the morning, because that's the only time we primarily find things is when we wake up in the morning. So I had the home security system activated, turned on as a way to mitigate or eliminate finding kid toys and other objects that neither one of us own. And that didn't stop it. That did not stop. I want to be clear about that. When we go to bed, our system is armed. It's going to detect motion. A front door, garage door, window, movement. It's a 2-story unit. A majority of the items were found on the first floor or on the staircase. But that did not stop items appearing that neither one of us owned. we were finding so many items that neither one of us owned that we kept them in a drawer in the kitchen. That's how often we found it. It became a put it in the drawer and maybe the riddle will solve itself. Well, the riddle is not going to solve itself, ladies and gentlemen. The poltergeist is the riddle. So after that um, episode of items appearing, um, and me thinking that somebody is, doing this to us, um, neither one of us are coming close to saying ghost. That's the farthest from our minds. One thing you have to appreciate about Keith and Tina's story is we're babies to the paranormal. We're new, and that's pretty what makes us easy pickings for a poltergeist. They prey and feed on the unaware, and it's trying to, or something, someone, something is trying to get our attention. And it's going to succeed. Um, you know, it's weird to leave a room that you left the light on, that you left the light on, and you come back and that light is off. It's weird to leave a room, I'll talk about my office, and you left the TV on. I'm going downstairs to retrieve a glass of water, make myself a cocktail, glass of wine, and I come back and my TV is off. It's weird to come back and your TV is on a different station. But these are interesting things that make me raise my eyebrow, that occupy me and Tina's pillow talk at night, of the weirdness in the house. Remember, May 1st, we heard the kid cough. We have not mentioned the kid cough since that day. But it's interesting, kid cough and kid toys and lights going off and on in the Bothell house. Something is trying to let us know that things are going to ratchet up, if you will. This house that you and Tina seem to have fallen in love with, that y'all found on Craigslist, is different than any other house in the neighborhood. It's different than any other house in Bothell. And knowing what we know now about this case, I'm talking about 2021, this house is different than any other house in the world. But something's about to happen to make me and Tina aware we're about to be slapped in the face, metaphorically. And that's when the gloves are going to come off. That's where when we're going to be introduced to the paranormal, to the poltergeist, to the entity, to the spirit or spirits. Something is about to happen. Something major is about to happen. And me and Tina are about to get the event of our lives in a few days. In a few days from everything I've just told you, something is going to happen to where we are now going to ask ourselves the question we never thought we would ask ourselves. I think this house is haunted.